Hello, my name's Caroline Keenan and I'm Associate Professor of Law and Legal Education at the University of Exeter, Cornwall. And today I'm going to be talking about hacking environmental justice. This activity involved first-year students on the Law with Business programmes, the University of Exeter, Cornwall. We used a hack or hackathon format. Hacks are time-limited challenges which take place outside the normal timetable. As such, the solutions advocated are expected to be imperfect. As part of the first term, all other activity in law subjects was paused for a week so that the students could work together on their hack in their teams known as law firms, to the exclusion of all other law module work. Their challenge at the beginning of the week was to create a presentation to represent the interests and viewpoints of different stakeholders in a simulation of a public consultation about law reform in relation to an environmental problem which they would not study on the course. We chose a pressing environmental problem of the very poor water quality in the UK that all students would know at least a little about, and all would have a personal opinion about the problem and the solution. We used the theatrical techniques of role play and improvisation, asking our student groups to create an analysis of the law from the perspective of their given stakeholder, which in many cases varied considerably from their own perspective, and they used partially publicly available information about the views of their stakeholders to improvise. This week-long activity was primarily about developing their ways of doing as undergraduates, trusting their own judgment, learning that they can learn from their peers, not just from lecturers, to understand and to respect the views of others, and through working together represent those views ethically, which may be very different from their own. Our other learning objectives were to develop the practice of trying, making, and learning from mistakes, and to rehearse their work. The use of any kind of educational theatre makes you very much focus on the experience and understanding of the students. In the end, you have to think about selling this new type of activity. Students have to be able to understand what it is they are performing and why, and they have to be kept being on board. So they have to understand the task completely, and as such, you have to be very conscious of the clarity of any instructions. So everyone is clear about what they're going to be doing at any point and why. In organising this kind of learning, you have to consider how each activity will prepare them for the overall task by knowing what they will be doing precisely. It cannot be that they go from naught, listening to you or passively absorbing information, to 60, improvising, rehearsing and performing. It's made us very conscious of when that is an appropriate use of time, that when these group activities like this are really useful practice for a task. And so you have to scaffold each experience for them. You have to create stages for them to get to the point at which they're performing, and you have to be extremely clear about instructions. The hack was timetabled early on the first part of their first term at university, and as such we had a range of reactions. For some people, initially, they don't want to be out of their comfort zone. They don't want to be doing something not in timetabled modules and something not directly linked to assessment. They're still in school mode, and that can be quite a shock in a very different environment. For others, this was beyond their dreams when they came to university because they had real responsibility. They're very engaged and invigorated that they're working on a real-world problem. But because it's compulsory, it really creates this immersive world, and it provides a reset button for all students, that actually from now on you're going to be performing at a much higher level, that you're in control and in charge of your own learning. The experience of working together with people who they're going to work with all year can create a real sense of instant community and a massive sense of achievement. It can also give instant interest beyond the subject matter. The effect of the final performance being a competition is very good for law and business students who are, by the nature of their interests, fairly competitive. But what it also enables them to understand, which they probably haven't done before, is the ethics and responsibility of not representing their own views, but representing the views of others. The idea that others have views and that those have to be fairly represented.